In this video, we're going to look at a really exciting new CSS feature, scroll-driven animations. We'll take this boring scrolling content here, and we'll give it an upgrade to something a little more interesting, like this. And we'll do it all with CSS, no JavaScript. All right, let's get to it. Okay, so here's what we're starting with. We've got this content here with some basic info about NBA teams. And when we scroll down to see the list, it looks not only a little boring, but almost broken. These headers are sticky, but before they stick to the top, they have extra space next to them. As they stick, they sit next to each other and look okay. Wouldn't it be great if we could transition these as we scroll? Well, we actually can with scroll-driven animations. Scroll-driven animations in CSS provide effects that used to require JavaScript to pull off. They allow us to animate items tied to their visibility within a given scroll container. And as you can see, the possibilities are endless. Okay, so back to our example here. The first thing we want to do is animate our headers so that they look better as we scroll. To do this, we start by adding the animation timeline property. This is the brand new property that makes all of this possible. It's what allows us to bind animations to a scroll container as it scrolls. Now, there are many ways to use this property, but for this example, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to use the also brand new view function. This allows us to tie animations to the nearest parent scrolling container. Now, there are many different options we can pass to the view function, but we're just going to pass it the direction of scroll that we want to animate along. In our case, it's the block direction because that's the way our content scrolls. If it were scrolling horizontally, we could use inline instead. Okay, now let's create a keyframe animation for how we want these headers to animate. What we'll do is have the containers start at full width and animate to the final 50% width. So let's call it shrink. Okay, we'll go from a width of 100% to a width of 50%, but we also have a 4-pixel gap between the headers when they're pinned. So let's make it a calc and subtract half of that gap, 2 pixels. Now let's also scale from 80% to 100%. And let's also fade it from an opacity of 0 to an opacity of 1. Now let's add this animation to our element with the animation name property. Okay, the last piece is to add an animation range. With this property, we can define when we want our animation to begin and when we want it to end. This property is actually a shorthand for the new animation start and animation end values. Now, this is a little tricky to understand, but we'll give it a value of entry -10% for the start and contain 40% for the end. Wait, what? Let's use an external tool to explore what this means. This is a tool created by a developer relations engineer at Google. It allows us to easily see how the animation range settings work. So let's set the range start to entry and -10. And let's set the range end to contain and 40. Now, when we scroll this example, we can see our animation starts and ends while scrolling within the view. This tool really helped me understand how these settings work. You can find the link in the description below, and I highly recommend that you check it out. Okay, back to our example now. When we scroll down, we can see our animation is applied correctly, much better. And if we scroll slowly, we can see how the animation gets applied. As it enters the view, it's full width, and by the time it reaches about 2/3 of the scroll height, it's nearly 50% wide, fully opaque, and fully scaled in. And if we stop scrolling anywhere in here, the items freeze at their current spot in the animation. I mean, to me, this is mind-blowing. Crazy that it's all done with just a few lines of CSS. So cool. Now, this isn't looking exactly how I want it yet. I want to animate in the list items on scroll as well. For these items, I want to do the opposite. I want to start them smaller and grow them as they scroll in. So we start by adding our animation timeline again. We'll use the view function again with the value of block. Now we add our keyframe animation. Let's call it grow this time. We'll start with a scale of 80% and an opacity of 0. And we'll animate to a scale of 100% and an opacity of 1. Now we can add it with the animation name property. And we'll add our range. We'll use the same value as our previous animation. To start, entry -10%, and to end, contain 40%. Okay, so how does it look now? Nice. I like this effect. It looks a lot smoother than it did before the animation. Okay, now the last thing I want to do for this example is I want to do something with this label as I scroll down. I think we should animate it out as we scroll since it's telling us to scroll and that's what we're doing. So you know the deal by now. Let's add the animation timeline with view, block. Now we need another keyframe animation. This one we'll call fade out. It will start from a scale of 1 and opacity of 1. And it'll animate to a vertical translate of -250%, a scale of 80%, and an opacity of 0. Now we need to add it to our label element. And then we need to add our range. This time it'll be a little different. We'll start with contain at 0% and end with contain at 100%. Okay, so how does this look now? Nice, I like that better. Hopefully this gets you going and inspires you for what's possible with the stuff that you're building. One last note on scroll-driven animations. Browser support is not super great at the moment. Chrome and Edge are good, but they are only available behind a flag in Firefox and not at all in Safari. Hopefully we'll get there soon, but in the meantime, you'll need to keep that in mind. Okay, I think that's all for now. Until next time, thanks for watching.